Welcome to StarWatch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Have you ever seen a man say, "I love you," without a single word? No grand gestures, no public declarations, just one smile, one glance, one greeting that says it all. Today on StarWatch Now, we're not here to expose gossip. We're here to witness the quiet, soul-stirring difference between how Wong Iba greets his friends and how he greets someone who might just be his partner. Because in Iba's world, emotions aren't spoken. They're felt through the silence, through the subtle. Wong Iba's public persona is an intricate study in restraint, and nowhere is that more obvious than in the way he greets his friends. When he strides into a rehearsal hall or a press conference, he carries himself with a measured calm that suggests both discipline and distance. His gaze sweeps the room, registering familiar faces, but he does not rush forward. Instead, he pauses, offers a brief tilt of the head or the faintest upcurve of his lips, and allows the moment to settle. To the casual observer, it can appear almost aloof, yet those who have worked beside him for years recognize the gesture as a quiet acknowledgement. You're seen, your presence matters. Now let's focus on the task. It is a greeting calibrated for professional spaces, where emotional economy keeps chaos at bay. Among close colleagues, the exchange is warmer but still understated. A co-star might receive a soft handshake finished with a gentle clasp of thumbs, the slightest pressure conveying camaraderie without demanding intimacy. The crew member who adjusts his microphone receives a low murmur of thanks, delivered so quietly it is easy to miss. Even in laughter, he exercises control. The sound is light, intentioned, never uproarious. There is something almost traditional in these manners, a deference rooted in the belief that respect is expressed by flawless work rather than exuberant display. His friends understand that the real compliment is his consistency. He arrives on time, prepared, and wholly present, and that reliability is his form of affection. Yet beneath the still surface lies an undercurrent of care that fans rarely glimpse. Watch closely after the cameras stop rolling. He lingers just long enough to check whether a tired dancer has water, whether a lighting technician needs a moment to reset. The gestures are fleeting, designed not to draw attention to themselves. In a culture that prizes humility, he seems determined to ensure that kindness never appears performative. That discretion has become part of his legend. Supporters trade grainy backstage clips like precious artifacts, convinced each half-second smile or quiet pat on the shoulder reveals the real man hidden behind the star facade. Critics sometimes misread this reserve as coldness, but those within his circle know it is, in fact, a form of guardianship over himself certainly, but also over the fragile ecosystem of trust that allows a film set or a concert tour to succeed. Boundaries protect energy. Energy enables excellence. Thus his greeting is both gate and gift. It establishes the respectful distance he needs to perform at his peak, while still affirming solidarity with the people who share the long hours and the high stakes. In that delicate balance resides a rare authenticity. Wong Iba does not play at friendship for the lens. He practices it in small, disciplined doses that endure long after the spotlight fades. It is a language of minimalism, nearly invisible to anyone expecting Hollywood theatrics, yet deeply eloquent to those attuned to its subtleties. And it explains why, even in his silence, his friends trust him completely. Wong Iba stands at the edge of a red carpet clutch, posture straight, shoulders set like marble, the picture of contained composure. The corners of his mouth lift in the disciplined half-smile he has perfected over a decade in show business. Enough warmth to satisfy headlines, never enough to betray the pulse beneath. Those who study him closely, however, wait for the instant the facade ripples, because there is always a fraction of time when his guard falters and the truth of his feeling glints through. It happens the moment a figure steps into view. Without conscious thought, his weight shifts forward. The angle of his body bends by only a few degrees, barely noticeable unless you compare frame to frame, yet the difference vibrates through the atmosphere. His eyes, moments ago scanning the crowd in efficient arcs, lock onto a single point and soften, the black irises reflecting a private light. The external noise collapses. A hush seems to envelop the space between them. He exhales once, shallow, then inhales more deeply than before, shoulders loosening, chin tilting. The change is not grand, but it is seismic. A trained dancer, Iba knows how to command a stage with the smallest flick of wrist or turn of ankle. Yet here his body language is unchoreographed, involuntary. His right hand, usually disciplined at his side, lifts halfway toward his chest, fingers twitching as if preparing to wave, then settles over his heart instead, a gesture his management would never script. The moment lasts 2, maybe 3 beats, but the emotional resonance reverberates like a bass note under every flashbulb. When the person reaches him, he moves first, an uncharacteristic breach of his own protocol. He offers his hand, but not the brisk handshake reserved for industry colleagues. His palm opens, meeting theirs with a lingering press, thumb grazing knuckle in a silent greeting that is both question and answer. The tension in his spine melts. The line of his mouth curves fully now, revealing a softness rarely captured on camera. This is not the smile of a star courting publicity. It is a window, flung open for one soul and one soul only. They note how his pupils dilated, how his shoulders dipped to lower his stature, making space for the other in his personal orbit. They spot the way he angles his body to shield the exchange from prying lenses, carving an intimate alcove within a public arena. All these details, they conclude, are unmistakable indicators of affection. Yet the most telling evidence is intangible. A shift in energy so palpable that even those watching feel their own breath catch. Body language never lies. It whispers the stories we are too cautious to voice. In that fleeting corridor of glances and micromovements, Wong Iba confesses more than any interview could extract. He speaks a dialect of muscle and heartbeat, revealing that behind disciplined poise lives a heart that recognizes its counterpart instantly and answers with unguarded grace. The contrast between Wang Yibo's 2 modes of greeting is as delicate as shifting light yet as undeniable as sunrise. When he meets the colleagues who populate his professional orbit, his approach is precise, almost metronomic. He acknowledges them with a dependable rhythm. Eye contact that flickers just long enough to register politeness, a nod aligned to the tempo of studio schedules, a handshake measured to the exact pressure that etiquette requires. Even his voice remains on a single register, clipped and even. The ritual is not empty. It is the courtesy of a man who honors teamwork by never allowing his personal weather to disrupt the collective climate. Still, there is a sense of choreography. Steps arranged in advance, no beat ventured beyond necessity. Then the rare moment arrives when the person who matters most steps across the threshold, and the sequence rewrites itself in real time. The nod softens into a small bow that communicates respect rather than routine. His gaze, usually a brief checkpoint, lingers until it turns into silent dialogue, each second thick with unspoken assurance. I see you, and I'm glad you're here. The formal handshake transforms into a touch that has no true equivalent in his standard repertoire. Fingers curling around the others with an audible hush in the way bone meets bone, as though the gesture itself wishes not to be overheard. The even tone of voice lowers, shaded by warmth, vowels stretching ever so slightly, as if he wants the shared air to last. Where distance once stood like a polite velvet rope, an invisible drawbridge lowers. Shoulders angle inward, torsos lean closer, creating a small territory of belonging amid the clamor of cameras. Observers might search for dramatic flourishes, but the real difference resides in micromovements. The speed with which he closes space, the surge of breath that lifts his chest, the half-step he takes forward when no step is required at all. It is not performance. If anything, it is an accidental confession that slips through the seams of rehearsed composure. In these fleeting exchanges, professional efficiency gives way to something exquisitely human, an instinctive prioritization of one presence over all others. The 2 greetings stand side by side like mirror images cracked by feeling. One pristine and functional, the other alive with reverberations that linger long after the moment has passed, reminding everyone watching that even disciplined gravity yields to the quiet pull of genuine connection. So, who is this person? We're not here to speculate names, but we are here to explore something deeper. Could it be a long-standing connection built off-screen? A person who supported him during a vulnerable time? Someone he feels safe with, no masks, no cameras? Fans have pointed out how his shoulders relax near them, how his eyes soften, how he becomes just Iba, not Wong Iba the superstar. And that is priceless. In a world of clickbait and scandals, this kind of story stands out, because it reminds us, even the most stoic, seemingly unreachable celebrities feel, love, change. And Wong Iba? He shows it not through interviews or posts, but in the way he greets someone. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most honest way to tell the world how you feel. Next time you see a video of Wong Iba greeting someone, don't just focus on who they are. Look at him. Look at how his body shifts. Look at the smile he can't control. Listen to the silence between words. It speaks volumes. Because love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just one look, one gesture, one simple hello. That means everything. If the story moved you even just a little, like, share and subscribe to StarWatch Now for more emotionally rich, insight-driven stories from the world of Asian entertainment. We'll be watching the stars so you can feel their light wherever you are. Glowing Star, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Stay curious, stay kind, and always look beyond the surface.